So this is something that I thought was interesting. Sports World reacts to 1 million seat stadium concept. And guys, I don't know if you have seen this concept, but it makes no sense to me, and I'll explain it. Now, this thing is just ginormous. And it says a new 1 million seat stadium concept is making the rounds on social media. This was like 2 months ago. I recently found this. The stadium sounds exactly what it's described as. It includes 1 million seats in basically a Coliseum-style layout, and we've got some high-def photos of this stadium. And you just look at all of those seats, and then you look at the largest proposed stadium in the past, which is the Deutsches Stadium, which the Third Reich wanted to build in the early 30s, and you take a look at that, it had a proposed capacity of 400,000, basically 40% of this stadium, and you look at it, and it's 20 times smaller. So I don't really know if this really is 1 million seats. It looks more like 3 million seats if the Deutsches Stadion really seats 400,000 people. It's like 10 times smaller. It doesn't make any sense to me. Or maybe it's the design, the seat layout. Either way, it is absolutely not realistic. It would never happen, I would think, although maybe something like a mosque or something. I went to look what's the biggest overall seated thing. Apparently it's some mosque in Saudi Arabia that can hold over 2.5 million people inside of it. So guys, really, I would say, just looking at that concept, that has to have a capacity of about 2.5 million at least. There's no way. The amount of seats that are there, if that's just 1 million, either that is way more than 1 million, or the Deutsches Stadion can really only seat like 200,000, or they're lying about the capacity. The Nazis were lying about the capacity, because that makes no sense. But I thought it was something cool. And then there's several other stadiums to look at. So this is the other Atlanta Falcons proposed stadium. We know they went with that high-tech, sphere thing, that circular thing that rotates in the middle. This, it's very obvious why they didn't choose this model. It looks like a freaking greenhouse. I'm guessing this got proposed and they looked at it and they're like, it's just a giant greenhouse, and that's why they didn't go with it. And then this is just an amazing. Could you imagine if the Vikings would have built this? This was one of the proposals the Vikings had. They ended up going with the current model, whatever it is, US Bank Stadium. I don't know if it hosted a Super Bowl. It either hosted a Super Bowl or it's going to host a Super Bowl. I don't know. And then some of these soccer stadiums are just ridiculous. So this is like that locust flower or whatever from Percy Jackson, I think. That's what it looks like, when you eat it and whatever. So that's what this is. My God, what an interesting looking model. And then here is San Diego State's stadium design, and I've got nothing against San Diego State personally, but this is a very average model. It looks like one of those MLS club soccer stadiums. There's just nothing to it, but obviously you have to give San Diego State credit for finding the funding. So many of these college teams, especially a Mountain West team, would have such a struggle to build a new stadium. This is why San Diego State is the number one option for the Pac-12 in terms of their conference expansion as they try and get up to 12 teams. They are the number one want, and it's in part due to this stadium. If you're able to fund a new stadium and you're a college football team, that shows an extremely healthy program. But I just think the overall stadium was a complete swing and miss. It's an there's just, at least you got to add one unique feature to it. I think the seating design might be the unique feature. There's like different colored seats, maybe. That might be it. And then this, I don't know. Apparently, the current plan with Penn State is to just build a new stadium. And if I was a Penn State fan,
I would be really scared if this is what they go with. This looks straight up like an NFL stadium to me. If I was a Penn State fan, I would strongly say, please do not choose this design. It kind of looks like their old stadium, but look at like the three deck approach. It just looks like, to me, an NFL stadium. So hopefully Penn State does not do that. Certainly, you want to get a new stadium. It's awesome, but something like that is ridiculous. So guys, I just wanted to talk about the overall design of the biggest stadium. You take a look at this. It says in a tweet, an experimental prototype of a stadium for 1 million fans, surely impossible in reality. Yeah, it's impossible if it's designed like that. But you have to understand, it makes no sense. That's an exaggerated design. That has to seat at least 2 million people. If you compare the Deutsche Stadium, which is the biggest proposed real stadium, which the Nazis proposed back in the 30s, it seats 405,000 and it looks 10 times smaller. Maybe it's the oval design. Maybe the Nazis were lying and it only seats 200,000. I don't know. But that stadium looks, that's got to be more than a million people, the capacity of that. That's like 12 decks. How many? I'm going to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 13 decks high. I can't believe they even designed something like this. It's obviously, I would say, impossible. The only place I could see it being used is like one of those, religious centers in the Middle East, like in Saudi Arabia, when they have like 4 million people go and pray or something like that. That would be the only situation I could see that used, because those places in the Middle East, again, there was one place that had a capacity of 4.5 million people. So it is pretty crazy. But guys, I just wanted to go over kind of that interesting concept. Who knows? It doesn't look very realistic. I think it was a soccer stadium design, which doesn't even make sense. Even the soccer teams in Europe, their capacities are only like 120, 115,000, very similar to an NFL stadium. It is sad the way we're going with the MLB in terms of stadiums. They're getting smaller. They're getting so much worse. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays are proposing stadiums with a capacity of like 25,000. If you can only attract 25,000 people to your ballpark, you need to move the team at that point, folks. Let's be real. That's ridiculous. You're an MLB team, and you're trying to propose a stadium with a capacity of 25,000. And now everyone's doing it with the smaller stadiums. Ohio State recently, I think they had a capacity of like 107,000. It's down to 102 because they wanted to make the luxury areas nicer. So we're seeing teams limit the capacity. I think the biggest college football stadium is Michigan Stadium, then Penn State, then Ohio State, then A&M. I believe that's what it is. And apparently Georgia is also getting a renovation of their stadium. They win the national championship. They get a little spending money, so they're also getting a renovation. But yeah, that Penn State model, I don't know, because originally I thought what Penn State was going to do, it was just like redesign the stadium, but keep the base structure. But then I heard from someone that they want to rebuild it completely. And this is a very similar looking stadium, but you can tell it looks like the 3-deck approach of seating makes it look like an NFL stadium, and I would not want that vibe if I was Penn State. So this is like a model that's supposed to go into effect in 2025. And then the other issue is this San Diego State Stadium. I just think it's a major step back. It looks like one of those MLS things. They have those mid-tier MLS, Columbus, whatever. I don't even know. I think Atlanta, whatever. I don't watch that type of stuff, but this is what it looks like. And I wonder what the capacity is. I think it's like 36,000, maybe 40,000. Honestly, I'm just guessing. I have no clue. But it's a step back for college football. I mean, at least make something that's unique about it outside of the seating. But it is a reason why San Diego State is a valuable program, because of the brand new stadium that they're. I mean, think about it. Could Colorado State build a new stadium right now? Most of these Mountain West teams couldn't. They wouldn't have the funds to do it. So that's why it's so impressive to see a Mountain West team be able to build a new stadium like this. But guys, I just wanted to go over the proposed biggest stadium, which says it has a capacity of 1 million people. It's really more like 2.5. I'm guessing it's really exaggerated. And obviously it is just a joke, I'm guessing, although they actually do have a scale model of it. So I don't know. Maybe it's used for the Olympics or something. But even then, I mean, the Olympics are only there one time. You're going to have this massive thing. It's just impractical unless there's some sort of religious use, maybe in India, maybe a cricket stadium. I have heard the cricket stadiums are just massive in India. India just has horrible air quality as well. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.